I'm kind of where Graham is, right? You just hope that the ability sort of wins out and that Jeff Driscoll knows where his bread is buttered in this offense. Matthew Stafford's kind of been the engine that's made this thing go for the last couple of weeks, now that they're not running the football with no Kerryon Johnson. So you just got to believe in the talent. But I would advise starting some other people, but I know with 6 teams on a bye, that might not be the easiest thing to do.
Yeah, it is one of those things that you're just going to have to take a leap of faith, which is what happens during Bye-Mageddon. But there is a little bit of good news.
Bipocalypse.
I thought we were going with Bye-Mageddon.
Bye-Mageddon.
I thought it was Bipocalypse.
By Ghazi.
I'm glad that, yes. I'm glad you're paying attention. Anyways, there is a quarterback who is going to be returning to fantasy lineups this week, Patrick Mahomes.
Woo!
Any hesitation?
Not at all.
Starting Patrick Mahomes.
Not even a little bit.
Yeah.
Not even a little.
Not even a little bit. It's almost like a non-question,
The only player I think you could feasibly start over him this week is Lamar, right? I mean,
even that, I feel coming off a huge game
Yeah.
against the Patriots, like you wouldn't want to start it. I think one of the more interesting points, which was made by Cynthia
Freeland?
Cynthia Freeland. She was talking about how this was probably the first time all season that Patrick Mahomes has every one of his players with him. Because Tyreek Hill got hurt in that first game.
Right.
He's had 2 quarters with him. Like, this is really an opportunity to go out and crush it.
Are we not counting LaShawn McCoy, who is a healthy scratch?
No, I said all of his good weapons.
Okay, I'm sorry. My bad.
I should have made that more specifically clear if that would have been possible. But you know what? Sometimes, though, and everybody says, like, hey, look, like, that's a no-brainer. Yeah, you know what? Beating a celebrity should be a no-brainer. And somebody learned this week what happens to you if you do not beat a celebrity. Let's go take a look at some of the footage you might have missed, in case you missed it.
I can't wait. Oh, I see what you did there.
Can we roll the video?
He's the worst.
I'm the best.
This is what happens when your commissioner lays down a decree. We answer that challenge. Was I slapped in the face by the fantasy footballers? I was not. You know why? Because I won. That's what I wanted you to do. I'm trying to inspire you. I don't want you to be starstruck anymore. So unfortunately, you're getting iced. And this is going to hurt me more than it's going to hurt you. 3, 2, 1. Oh my gosh! I'm going on the air! I'm going on Fantasy Live! I got a show to go on! Ah!
how you feeling, Taylor?
Really chilly. Just a little chilly. I feel inspired. Like Adam said, he inspired me.
See?
Exactly. If we could talk about good
I
sports.
lied. I lied. That was I did not feel inspired. But you know what I noticed is that you were running
Hold
away
on,
like a little scary cat.
If we could talk about good sports, though, in a moment of sincerity, what a good sport I was for not throwing the whole bucket on her.
He's so concerned with himself. He's so
I was
concerned with
about your
himself.
well-being.
You did leave quite a bit behind.
No, he
Listen,
literally went.
what a gentleman
He's such
I
a
am.
little-
I think
he's such a
that
little
was the underreported story of
He
all
was
of this.
so worried about
what
his
a
own
gentleman
self.
I was that I
Getting
didn't
just
want.
a little drop of water on
I
him.
did.
God
You know what? I
forbid.
wanted to do the right thing, and I didn't. You know what? These two and our CP, Justin Harvey, were hooligans dumping the ice bucket. I would just listen, little casual thing, and so I thank you, or you're welcome.
Well, I
As
told
think.
a white
Let's
lie.
look at the
I did not
standings, though.
feel
Let's look
inspired.
at the standings. All right, let's get to the standings and see where we're at. The FaZe Clan leading the celebrity division and going up against me this week. What? But they are tied with the Oracle Team AEW. Oh, poor Cody Rhodes. MJF, who would have seen that coming? Except everybody who follows professional wrestling. I knew I couldn't trust that guy. And anyways, we talked about that matchup here, the FaZe Clan, but Hollywood Inc. is going to be going up against the aforementioned Team AEW. The footballers get a bye this week going up against Desi Banks. That doesn't seem fair. And you know what, by the way, footballers, we'll have to address this at some other point. You do not get to have a spot at the table unless you're the high scorer of everybody. And there is a good chance that the items that you send to us are going to be broken. So why don't you deal with that? But now we're going to be doing a little dancing. Yeah, a little dancing with the starts. Let's take a look at some of the matchups we got coming up this week. And Marcus, you have a tough matchup.
I do.
Against the Mellow Knights, because even though they're 2-7, that is a pretty good team. Not indicative of the talent on their squad. The key matchup to me, I'm looking at Devin Singletary versus Josh Jacobs, who they already started on Thursday.
Right.
He already started on Thursday night. How you feeling about Singletary this week?
I feel like this is a good matchup for him. I mean, the fact that he's starting to get more opportunities there in that offense. As much as we love Frank Gore, it looks like he is going to be sort of downgraded right now with Singletary getting touches, getting targets right now. So I like his opportunity against a Browns defense that has struggled so far this season, and he's going to need to put up a big number because Josh Jacobs had a pretty good night on Thursday for the Raiders.
Graham, you're going to be going up against Candace Patton, a.k.a. Iris West from The Flash.
Yep.
So my question to you, you have One Tree Hill. Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking of something else from the CW. Tyreek Hill against Chris Godwin. How are you feeling about that one?
Yeah, Tyreek Hill versus Chris Godwin's probably the premier top receiver matchup this week in our league. And I mean, it's hard not to like my side with Tyreek Hill. I mean, Chris Godwin is in an amazing matchup this week against the Cardinals secondary. I mean, there's no chance these Cards are going to cover him. But Tyreek Hill gets his guy Patrick Mahomes back, and even without Mahomes in the lineup, we saw just how explosive Hill is downfield. He only needs a few targets to get loose. And now the Titans are without Malcolm Butler. They're going to be trotting out some backup cornerbacks this week. I mean, this is just another huge spot for Tyreek.
And Chris Godwin, even though as great as he is, but it's been Mike Evans over the last couple of weeks. So this would be an opportunity for him, especially because it's a revenge game for Bruce Arians and TaylorMade. This week,
it's going to be another tough matchup. Please don't. I'm glad the icing is not on the table because after Melvin Gordon's performance,
right? You're going up
comparing
against
Melvin Gordon, and I've got Nick Chubb.
But you got Dalvin Cook as well. How do you feel about Dalvin Cook going up against the Cowboys? Or are we talking about Nick Chubb?
We can talk about either one, but Dalvin Cook, I feel better about him than Nick Chubb for sure. I think that going up against the Cowboys have had a stout defense, and Dalvin Cook has been able to be shut down by a few defenses, but for the most part, he's second or tied for first in the league with scrimmage touchdowns. He's been my workhorse on my team. I don't expect that to change today. I know that the Cowboys are very strong against the run, but I do feel like because they have the ability to stretch the field, and Kirk Cousins has done a fantastic job with using his receivers like Adam Thielen and really stretching that field, it's going to help disperse that Cowboys defense. And so Dalvin Cook will be able to kind of penetrate a little bit more and do it.
And you've got Dalvin Cook, Nick Chubb, and who's your third running back?
Ezekiel Elliott.
Jeez, that's a great team. I have a great set of running backs right there. I do not have a great set of running backs, but I do have some wide receiver help.
You're 8-1.
I've got Mike Evans. We're going up against the FaZe Clan, who are the leaders of the celebrity division. And I think the biggest matchup here, Mike Evans going up against Tyler Lockett. Now, of course, Mike Evans was one that I kind of was battling back and forth with. I had Juju Smith-Schuster also in my queue, and I was looking at it, and I looked at Marcus, and I said, I think he would really enjoy having Juju on his team. And so Mike Evans has been coming through. He had one donut one week, and you know what? That's not going to hurt you. You know what? It's disappointing, and a lot of people were ready to drop him. They were going to rage drop him, but he's been coming through. But Tyler Lockett, I will say this. I know the matchup against the 49ers is tough, but Tyler Lockett needs to be in that conversation with guys like Julio Jones and DeAndre Hopkins and all those guys. You start them no matter what.
Yes.
I couldn't agree more. For once, I'm agreeing with you, Adam, but it helps that he's got Russell Wilson, who leads the league with 22 passing touchdowns, so it's only natural that Tyler Lockett is such a big target for him.
That is absolutely the truth. And now it is time for Fantasy Insurance presented by Geico, and we're going to be talking about the players who have you covered during Buymageddon. And Graham, why don't you get us started with a receiver?
Yeah, Michael Gallup this week is just in an amazing spot against the Vikings. I know we kind of look at this team against Minnesota, and we always think this is a good defense, but this year, this secondary has really started to regress. Xavier Rhodes and Trey Waynes are not playing well, and in fact, they've given up the second most PPR points to opposing receivers aligned out wide. That's where Gallup does the majority of his business. And, like you mentioned, with 6 teams out on a bye this week, I think Gallup is probably one of the best bench options that you have to plug in as a receiver too off your team.
Taylor, you got a Cowboy as well.
I do.
But actually, before you get there, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I'm going to go with Ronald Jones here because it's a revenge game, and I'm trying to get as many members of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers into the lineup as possible. And I think that now that he's been selected as the starter for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is something that has really been a long time coming. Ever since he was coming out of USC, I had high hopes for him being the lead back in this offense. So, of course, now that I've got him in my lineup ready to go, Dare is going to score a pair of touchdowns. But somebody who I think you could probably rely on even more, Taylor. Now we will get to you. Who is your running back, you would?
Ezekiel Elliott. So we've kind of been waiting for him to have a bust-out game. He's had a few, but I think against this Vikings run defense, today is going to be his day. Obviously, Michael Gallup and what Graham said earlier is going to also be another big threat, except Dak shines in primetime games. And Zeke performs also as a running back, but also as a receiver. So I think he's going to use him not only as just a running back, but as a receiver. I think Zeke is going to go off today. I need him to.
And you know who doesn't thrive in primetime games? Kirk Cousins. Does that matter here? No, but I just wanted to throw it out. Marcus, who do you got?
Christian Kirk going against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, we've spent a lot of time this week sort of hand-wringing over what's going to happen between Kenyon Drake and David Johnson. And really the answer is the Bucs are pretty good against the run, so throw the football to Christian Kirk. He started to take over really as the top wide receiver in this offense. And you see they're trying to find different ways to get him the football, into rounds and jet sweeps and that sort of thing. So I expect that he's going to go out and get plenty of targets from Kyler Murray and should have a nice day against the Bucs.
And that was Fantasy Insurance presented by Geico. And as Taylor said earlier this morning, it is Sunday Fun Day! And we're going to be hitting our cups here in just a moment. And we will also be talking about the struggle bus. Who is going to be getting off this week? We'll discuss that. But first, we happy chat. You're watching NFL Fantasy League One presented by Geico. Time now for 15 minutes to kickoff, presented by Geico. Here are the Week 10 notable active and inactives. As mentioned before, Matthew Stafford will be out today, as will Jacoby Brissett. And LaShawn McCoy has been a scratch. Of course, Patrick Mahomes will be active today, along with Le'Veon Bell and Marquise Hollywood Brown going up against the Cincinnati Bengals. Interesting note here, the Bengals have allowed the most rushing yards this season, but this could be an opportunity for the Ravens to get that play action going. And that was 15 minutes to kickoff, presented by Geico. Right now, let's take a look about the struggle bus. One of Marcus Grant's favorite phrases, talking about the struggle bus. So why don't we lead off with you? Who is a player who is a candidate to get off the struggle bus this week?
Allen Robinson, who last week we thought he was going to be in a great spot going against the Eagles, and that didn't really happen. But I think this week against the Detroit Lions, Allen Robinson gets off the struggle bus. I think he's going to get plenty of targets from Mitch Trubisky. Especially because the Bears now seem to have an advantage with no Matthew Stafford on the field
You think
available.
that?
You would think so. Look, I'm telling you, this is how much I believe in Allen Robinson. In a league where I have Jacoby Brissett, who's not available, I am starting Mr. Biscuit. I wrote in Tired Wired this week. I could see a path for him having a decent game, so I'm putting my money where my mouth is, and I'm starting Mitchell Trubisky.
Well, geez, thank
In case
you.
you think we don't follow our own advice,
Oh my!
I'm following my own advice.
Oh my heavens! You know the Bears have lost to Teddy Bridgewater and Brock
aware.
Osweiler.
I'm
So
aware.
When I
As
see
long as
Jeff
Allen
Driscoll,
Robinson gets those.
Jeff
gets those
Driscoll might
points.
as well be Johnny Unitas. But anyways, who's getting off the struggle bus for you, Taylor?
Nick Chubb, a lot of people have been questioning whether or not he's going to be as productive as he's been this season. He obviously ranks 8th among running backs. He's getting just under 19 points per game. But if you think about it, he's getting 84% of Cleveland's running back touches. And although Kareem Hunt is coming back, people are overreacting. He's still been their workhorse. He's still going to be a huge part of this offense. Nick Chubb is not going to get on the struggle bus. So I think that he's steered clear, still start him, and I need him.
You know what? I hate to do this, but I agree with
Yeah.
everything that you said. And I think that this is actually one of the best DFS plays this week, too, because a lot of people are avoiding Chubb in this spot because of Kareem Hunt. But I think that you go out there and you get him
Yeah.
into your DFS lineup. Graham, who are you looking at?
You've got the best contrarian mindset. I love that. You're always
Oh my gosh,
you're always
thank
on
you.
the opposite side. No, I love it. Struggle bus for me today is going to be Jared Goff. I mean, we want to play Goff at home when he's kind of in his same cushy environment against bad defenses.
But there's an interception
And
at
there's
home.
an interception at home against the Bucs, right? No, but no, this is going to be a tough spot for Goff here. He's on the road against the Steelers' front seven that has really done a kind of really good job this year, generating pressure. They're 4th in pressure rate, top 10 in sack rate this season, and he doesn't have Brandon Cooks to kind of stretch the field today. And I just think Goff is more of like a QB2 play this week based on the matchup.
Yeah, I don't want to get into that thing where you're like, well, he's at home, you start him, but it has really just worked out that way. So I agree with you. I benched him for Josh Allen this week. And one player I'm not going to be benching this week, even though he struggled against the Chargers, it's going to be Aaron Jones going up against Carolina Panthers this week. I really like this matchup for the Packers, and you know me, I'm not going to give Aaron Rodgers credit if I don't have to, but I really have to appreciate the way that
AKA ever.
But listen, when the opportunity is presented itself to allow the running backs to go out and do their thing, he's allowed them to do that. We've seen big games from Aaron Jones, especially in this one against the Dallas Cowboys. That was a huge moment for him. And we've seen both of these running backs, and this is all Aaron Jones right here. It's not Rodgers. I know everybody wanted to make Rodgers the MVP because Aaron Jones took that ball 70 yards to the house, which I don't understand how that works, but I'm playing him. And I'm also going to be starting Jamal Williams. You know why? Because it's Sunday Funday! And we're getting started early. You know, it's the West Coast. We drink before 9 a.m. It doesn't matter. Which sleeper wakes up for Sunday Funday? Zach Pascal or Ted Ginn Jr.?
I'm going to go Zach Pascal.
Okay.
Even with Brian Hoyer at quarterback.
that's a good
we saw
quarterback.
He played well last week. Brissett got hurt fairly early, and Pascal still went out and had a big game. I know the Dolphins' defense has improved, but it's still not great. So I'm going to go with Pascal.
Anybody on the side of Ted Ginn Jr., though?
I think Pascal's probably a better play this week, just 1v1, but Ginn could obviously rip off just a monster play.
What about, I know this isn't, we don't have video or anything, but Traquan Smith.
Yeah.
I feel like that is such a fun play this week.
Yeah, Traquan he's always got the deep speed to get one.
Yeah, and that's what we're looking for. This is a great matchup against the Atlanta Falcons. And moving on, what about, will we be toasting Jameis Winston having more than 19 fantasy points today?
Yes.
We
I'm going
toasting
yes.
it?
Yeah, absolutely
Toast.
toasting. We're definitely toasting
We're
to that.
toasting this.
Yeah, this is an
Don't-
amazing spot.
Don't get any on the jacket.
We're
but yes.
toasting this.
I'll toast,
Careful
but
of this
I'm
jacket.
not
It's on
ever
your mustache.
fully.
We're
I'm
toasting
never
it.
fully sold on Jameis
It's,
Winston.
by the way,
just simply
sparkling
because of how many
cider.
interceptions he throws, but
That's for men.
Drinking our
It's
sparkling cider.
Yeah.
delicious.
But yeah,
Still extremely sweet.
This is one of the things about Jameis is it seems like every time we trust him,
it goes wrong.
right. But I feel like this is a different situation because Bruce Arians is there. Obviously, it's the revenge game factor, but the Buccaneers have done really well against his former NFC West opponents.
I think this is a great. Honestly, this whole game is so good. I love almost every play in this game, and if the Cardinals can kind of match the pace, match the scoring pace with Winston, both Murray and Jameis should be throwing a ton in this spot. I think they're both going to have great games.
And when it's 9-6 at halftime and we're all upset, we'll
Don't
go
put
back
that on us.
and watch
When
the
Jameis
tape.
has thrown his 4th interception, we're going to be sitting
No,
here. And we're gonna
That's
ask him
too
to
easy.
stay.
You went
Play it
too far.
again.
Hey, guess what? Coming up, we're going to be answering all your Week 10 questions because we're a show of the people. This is NFL Fantasy League One presented by Geico, and we will be back after we happy chat. Big welcome back. It is time for 15 for 15 presented by Geico. We are going to be taking your questions right now and rolling through those. And so we will start with Jeremy's first question. Emmanuel Sanders or DK Metcalf?
I think I'm going to go Sanders here. I think Marcus was on it, man. You were on Sanders being the number one immediately in San Francisco. He's been great.
Yeah, he had a much bigger week last week than I would have expected, but yeah, rolling with him over Metcalf. Target share more than anything.
He
I do think
roasted
that,
Patrick
especially in
Peterson,
this
too.
week when there is a bye-mageddon, there really is no wrong choice. I would try and start both of those players. DK Metcalf's ceiling is so high with a quarterback like Russell Wilson.
Richie wants to know, with Stafford out, are you starting Kenny Golladay or Golden Tate?
Tate.
Yeah.
Even though I'm wearing a Baby Tron t-shirt, I'm going to go Golden Tate.
33 slot routes per game for Golden Tate. The Jets have allowed the
All of the
second
yards.
most yards to slot. It's a lot.
It's quite a bit.
It's quite a bit. Duncan wants to know David Montgomery or Tevin Coleman.
I'm going Demont.
I have the same
David
call in this
Montgomery.
very league, and I'm going with Montgomery. And I'm,
finally.
I'm inevitably going to get it wrong. So.
You're always wrong on Montgomery, so that worries me a little bit. Justin Eller wants to know, needs a replacement. Jack Doyle, Jared Cook, Greg Olson, Mike Gesicki,
Wow.
O.J. Howard, or Janu
wow.
Smith. So
Blue.
I like-
who are we picking up? Actually, there's some good
I
options.
know. I like Doyle and Janu.
This feels like a Jared Cook week.
I
some
know.
weird
I'm sorry.
reason.
It's just because maybe it's just because the Falcons.
Probably.
I think of that list, I think Doyle's probably my favorite streamer because Dolphins. But man, that's a huge list.
So we've helped you not at all.
No. Go Gesicki.
Look, with
Danger zone.
it's such a bad tight end class right now that you can choose from. If you don't have one of those top starting at tight ends, I'm surprised that there are so many options for him.
All right, Dak
available.
Prescott or Brian Hoyer?
Dak.
Yeah, Dak.
It's a
That's a good one.
primetime game. Dak goes
Dak.
off in every primetime game. I think he's 14-5 in primetime
Michael
games.
Rich wants to know Chris Carson or Marlon Mack.
Probably Carson. Really? A guy like Carson will.
Yeah.
I
You
like
can
Marlon
run on the
Mack.
49ers.
I
You
like
can run. See, that's the thing. The Niners give up yards. They
Yeah.
just haven't given up touchdowns.
The last 3 weeks, the Niners have started kind of show cracks. I think I would go Carson actually. Yeah.
What about
like
Kirk
Mack.
Cousins or Jared Goff?
I like Kirk Cousins.
Cousins. Yeah.
I know that he's terrible.
Prime
He's the opposite
time.
of Dak. He's
it's
terrible in
prime time.
primetime games, except I think that Cousins has proven himself this year that he is not the same
Yeah,
quarterback.
I'd probably go Cousins too.
Stefan wants to know A.J. Brown or Sammy Watkins.
Ooh, A.J. Brown today with no Corey Davis. That's where I'd lean.
Oh, good point. Yeah. So maybe
A.J. Brown. Yeah, let's do that. David Matthews, Stephon Diggs, or Emmanuel Sanders.
I like Stephon Diggs.
I think I go Diggs with no Thielen.
I love Sanders, man.
I do love
Diggs,
Sanders, but I think Diggs with no Thielen.
Yeah.
And Zach Pascal or Calvin Ridley.
I think I'd go Pascal.
Yeah.
I think I'd go Ridley.
I
Marshawn Lattimore's
I
going to be on
can't
Julio
go.
today.
I like Ridley as well. And that was 15 for 15, presented by Geico. And right now, it's time to take a look at the Week 9 Watchmen players we are keeping an eye on. Graham, who do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to look at two today, and it's going to be how the Cardinals plan to use both David Johnson and Kenyon Drake in the same backfield. We kind of heard some speculation this week that they're going to plan to use DJ Moore as a slot receiver. But Kenyon Drake was fantastic this past week, and I think if Cliff Kingsbury is wise, and by far this season he's shown that he has been, he will want to get Drake and DJ on the field concurrently, and the way he can do that is using Drake out of the backfield and moving DJ out as a receiver. I'm really interested to see how the Cardinals end up splitting this backfield share this week.
Taylor, who you got?
I've got Jalen Samuels. With James Conner out, this is just going to provide him a huge ceiling. They're going up against the Rams. If they really want to defeat the Rams, they've got to control the clock. And in order to control the clock, they're going to have to run the ball a lot with no James Conner. It's definitely going to go to Jalen Samuels just based on volume and target share alone. I think Jalen Samuels is going to be my watchman.
Marcus, who is your watchman?
Well, my watchman is going to be Latavius Murray, who I think even with Alvin Kamara coming back, is set to get a big, not to say a big workload, but I think he still has a role in this offense. And this isn't just about the fact that they're playing the Falcons, although that does have something to do with it, but it's the fact that he has been so good when Kamara was out, especially down near the goal line. I think it's going to be hard to deny him being on the field and getting the football today.
My Dr. Manhattan is going to be O.J. Howard. If it doesn't happen for O.J. Howard in this game, it is
ain't
never going to happen. I'm sure Cameron Brate will end up with 3 touchdowns this week, while Godwin and Evans get nothing, and of course, O.J. Howard. But this is an opportunity. If you can't get right here against the Arizona Cardinals, there might be another sport for you. Maybe become an American Ninja Warrior. I don't know. Let's blow through a couple more questions. We got like 40 seconds. Matt Ryan, actually, this one's not on the board. Matt Ryan or Dak Prescott?
Dak.
Dak.
Really? Okay, hold on. I'm going to do that. Graham, start reading these. Just start reading those off.
Let's see here. Jamal Williams or David
Okay, got
Johnson?
it.
Oh,
thank
it's
you.
easy.
I think I go DJ.
Yeah, DJ too.
Yeah, I go DJ.
I swear to God, if you guys are wrong. Le'Veon Bell or Jalen Samuels, real quick.
Lev.
Lev, yeah.
Love.
Okay, by the way, you can catch us 30 minutes before the Monday Night Football game at 7:45 Eastern. We'll be answering your questions, getting you ready for the 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks. Thank you so much for watching NFL Fantasy League One, presented by Geico.